Holy crap, everybody, they screened some new Star Wars footage from The Last Jedi, so I'm going to explain what's going on. Because this is so awesome, I'm giving away Rogue One Blu-rays. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. If you don't know what happened, Disney had a special shareholders meeting that it does every year where they reveal everything about what's going on with the theme parks. So like they're building Star Wars Land. They talk about all their big franchise movies because Disney earns billions and billions of dollars for their shareholders. So they screen footage from all the upcoming projects. So one, that people will lose their minds over how cool it's going to look. And two, because the business people want to earn a lot of money. So there's that side to it too. But it's really just cool because you get a look at what's going to be coming down the pipe. And of course, because it's a saga year, they screened Star Wars The Last Jedi footage. They screened footage from Thor Ragnarok. Now this is a Star Wars video. I'll do a separate video for Thor stuff because there was a whole bunch of other stuff that dropped today. But here's a breakdown of what was in that Star Wars footage, and it's about what you'd expect. It wasn't like an official trailer, but it was a lot of footage that will probably wind up in the trailer when they post that at Star Wars Celebration in April. So I'll remind everybody about that at the end of the video, because that's when they'll probably make all this footage available. But here's the deal. So it started off kind of funny. It was a bit tongue-in-cheek because they're still editing the film. They're still working on special effects. So there's not as much footage to show off as you would think. But they pick up in that final scene from Star Wars The Force Awakens where Rey is handing Luke the lightsaber. Rey asks him, "Who are you?" as he picks up his father's lightsaber. Then they jump to footage of Chewbacca, Leia with the Resistance, Finn, and then a big montage of a bunch of the different locations. So they're going to be visiting mountains, oceans, forests, deserts, basically every type of Star Wars location that you could probably think of. The planet that they're on here, Octu, is actually relatively aquatic, at least this area that they're in, so that might be the ocean that they're referring to. There's a lot of Rey training that's going to be happening there. So in the way that The Force Awakens sort of jumped around to the different characters' storylines, and we got to see different types of terrain, obviously the same thing is going to be happening. So not all the characters will be traveling together for the entire film. Finn has his own resistance stuff that's going on. There are a lot of rumors about how he's going to be working as an infiltrator for the First Order, but one of the last big clips that they showed off was this X-Wing wobbling midair under attack from a giant ship looking like a really wounded bird. So really this is just a highlight reel. It doesn't tell you too much about what the story's going to be. They're going to save a lot of that for Star Wars Celebration and the big panel that they'll do for the movie. But the big takeaway from this is Rey's dialogue. "Who are you?" asking Luke Skywalker. It's a bit of a general term. They're using it in an ambiguous way, like, who are you? Are you a Jedi? Like, what is Rey going to become? What are you going to become? That's actually a line from Rogue One. What will you become if they break you? It's used in a very different way, but the context is the same. Like people just making the choice to become something else, like deciding who they're going to be. There was also talk about Poe, Finn, the Resistance characters trying to sabotage a new First Order weapon. Now, I know everybody jokes about the idea of them making another Death Star in Star Wars The Force Awakens. So that's not going to be happening in The Last Jedi, but that doesn't mean that they're going to stop building weapons of mass destruction. So mercifully, no more Death Stars, but there still will be really crazy weapons that they're building. And because the movie's picking up in the exact moment after The Force Awakens, there's no way they'd have time to build another Starkiller base. That sounds like it took them 20 plus years to build. And there's a little bit of Empire's End, the book that was released, that explains a little bit about their time in the unknown regions, about how the remnants of the Empire sort of left after the Battle of Jakku. That was like the last big battle between the Rebellion and the Empire, went into the unknown regions and sort of disappeared from view for many years until they resurfaced and started building support in the Senate. They found a lot of sympathizers and ways to fund the creation of the Starkiller base, but that took many, many years to complete in the unknown regions. So that's how they can build something that big. It can show up during The Force Awakens, and the other characters don't really know about it, although Leia probably had suspicions. She sounds like she was one of the few people that knew about the threat of the First Order and wanted to do something about it, whereas the other members of the New Republic didn't take them very seriously, which allowed them the time to complete this weapon, literally build a weapon into a planet. And for those of you that had questions about the logic of that, they could actually move that around because it basically drains a star to power itself. They explained after the movie came out, obviously it was blown up, so the weapon doesn't matter, but it was able to move itself with hyperdrives to other systems so that it could use another sun to power another blast. But aside from swooping in to fill the vacuum left by the destruction of the New Republic, during Force Awakens, we don't know too much about what the First Order's next plans are, because they're still trying to find Luke Skywalker, so that's a very Kylo Ren-centric mission, but the rest of the First Order is probably rushing in to strengthen their stranglehold on the galaxy. Like, it's one thing to swoop in with a bunch of ships and take over a planet, but there are many, many planets in the New Republic, so a more effective route would be for them to take over what's left of the New Republic and then form a new government under the First Order. In that way, they won't have to conquer all those planets one by one. They'll just fall in line the way they did during the original trilogy. So it sounds like, based on the description of the footage they screened off, what's going to happen is they're going to split a lot of the First Order story with Finn and Poe's characters, the Resistance characters like General Leia, in the more Force-centric stuff with Kylo Ren, Snoke, Luke, and Rey's character. So usually what happens is by the climax of any film, all those storylines sort of converge, but they start off in very different places. So it sounds like Rey's going to be on Octo 2 for a while Finn and Poe decide what their next move is going to be, try to infiltrate the First Order and find out what their plans are. Then the thing I know we're all really getting hyped about is Luke leaving the planet, traveling with her Obi-Wan Kenobi style, and them just going on some crazy adventure that eventually causes them to meet up with the other characters. But the other really cool Luke Skywalker stuff, J.J. Abrams has seen most of the film, obviously because he's still a big producer on the film, even though he's not directing it, he didn't write it, is that he said Mark Hamill deserves an Oscar for his performance in The Last Jedi. Now, obviously, the Oscars have a history of hating genre films, so I don't think any of us actually expect Star Wars to win any Oscars. Maybe some technical Oscars. Those are a little bit easier. Hugh Jackman's Logan film might break that streak because a lot of people are talking about Patrick Stewart for Best Supporting Actor Oscar just because he's doing this crazy King Lear impression. But let me know in the comments, what do you think it's going to take for Star Wars, somebody from the Star Wars universe, to win Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor? It's going to take the performance of a lifetime, but the powers that be are calling The Last Jedi the perfect chapter in the iconic Skywalker family drama. So that heavily relies on Skywalker family. So even though there's a lot of First Order stuff going on, and that ties in with Leia's character, this is all about the Force in the lineage of Anakin Skywalker. So I know it's kind of crazy now because so many other Marvel movies are dropping information. There's all this Thor stuff that dropped today. There's Wonder Woman stuff happening. We have Justice League. There's all the Infinity War stuff. I still feel like The Last Jedi will probably be the biggest movie this year, just because even though Star Wars has been a little bit quieter lately because it hasn't been around for as long, they just came back with The Force Awakens, it will roar into December, and even though The Last Jedi probably won't gross quite as much globally as The Force Awakens did, it will still earn way more money than any of the other films this year. So let me know in the comments. Here's a big question. Do you actually think that The Last Jedi will earn more money at the box office than The Force Awakens did? I feel like the only reason it won't is because they spent so much money marketing The Force Awakens, and it was the first new Star Wars film in like 10 years, so everybody that would normally not be going to the movie theater just came out to see what was going to happen. So once you get a few more Star Wars movies under your belt, people are like, okay, another Star Wars, I'll wait for it to come out on DVD, I'll wait for it to come out on Netflix. So even though everyone will watch the movie, it's just not as many people will go to see the sequels as went to see that first brand new Star Wars movie. So at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal because it's still going to earn billions and billions of dollars between the theatrical release, the toys that they sell, and everything else. So remember, when Disney bought Star Wars, they bought the rights to everything, including the merchandising. So like for every $20 movie ticket that people buy, they spend like $40 on toys. So they earn way more money on that side of the business. But I'm just so happy with all the stuff that's dropping today. There's so much good news, so I'll try to get through all the videos as much as possible. There's new Thor Ragnarok, there's some new Flash footage that I'm going to post later tonight. So Thor might not post till Thursday morning, and there's a couple other TV episodes that I'm going to try and post videos for, so I'll update the video schedule as I go along. And because I missed Star Wars Friday last week, I'm going to try and think of something cool to do for this weekend, but let me know what you want me to do for that next Star Wars video. While you wait for that, you can click here to learn more about what's going on with Rey in Last Jedi, and you can click here to learn all about a brand new Game of Thrones character. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.